Hi friends, this is our second week learning about the fruit of kindness. For our opening activity today, grab some tangrams, some wiki sticks, some Play-Doh, or any kind of craft supplies that you have around your house, and create a picture that reminds you of a rule that you have at your house or at your school. Today, I made a heart with God in the middle to remind us to love God with all of our hearts. That is the greatest commandment, and that is what we're learning about today.
Our story today comes from Matthew chapter 22, verses 34 through 46. It's titled The Greatest Commandment, and I'm going to read it from our Spark Bible. The Pharisees were a group of people who had lots and lots of laws. Altogether, they had more than 600. Whew, that's a lot of rules to follow. One day, one of the Pharisees said to Jesus, "Teacher, what's the greatest law?" He didn't think Jesus could possibly pick just one out of so many laws. He was really trying to trick Jesus. But Jesus knew the man was trying to trick him. He looked at the man and smiled. "Love God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind," Jesus said. "This is the greatest of all the commandments. But there's another really important one too. Love your neighbor as yourself. If you obey these two laws, then you obey all of the laws." The Pharisees' jaws dropped on the floor. They were shocked to know just how smart Jesus was. They were surprised Jesus had answered their question and turned their trick back on them. They didn't know what to say. Then Jesus had a question for them. "What do you think about the Messiah? Whose son is he?" That was an easy question for the Pharisees. They grew up learning in school that the Messiah came from the family of David, so that's what they told Jesus. "Then why do all the people from the family of David praise David as the Messiah?" Jesus asked. Now that was a hard question. The Pharisees didn't have an answer. They backed away and didn't trick Jesus again.
Miss Jennifer just read us the story of the greatest commandment from our Spark Bible. The greatest commandment came from Jesus. Jesus calls us to love with our whole body, our whole soul, our whole spirit, and our whole mind. How do you do that? How do you love God with your whole being? And how do you love your neighbor as yourself? This week, I want you to think about who your neighbor might be. Not just your neighbor next door to your house, but who are your neighbors in your community? At school, at church, on maybe a team that you play on. Think of those people and how you might love them. And think of God and how you can show God love in small ways and big ways, and to give Him all the glory. Will you pray with me? Dear God, we thank you for this great commandment that you gave to us. We thank you for the reminder of loving others and loving you, God. Help us to use that love to show kindness to our neighbors, to ourselves, and of course to you. We love you. Amen. We'll see you next week.